Yes.
What do you think about this sort of exposure therapy versus, what do you think about that? When are we ready? When are we being too cautious? When are we being pushing it too much? What do you think about all of that?
Well, it was funny because I was just thinking about that just the other day because I happened upon an article. It was about the hyperacusis, and the article was saying that there's been research that said that if you have the sound sensitivity from the earliest days after your brain injury, you are more likely to have symptoms, ongoing, which I did not know. I was fascinated by that. I mean, I was like, oh, kind of explain some more of my experience.
Can you repeat that to me easier because I didn't quite catch the
Um,
two bits of information?
So if you have the article said this research said that if you have the sound sensitivity like from the earliest days after your brain injury, you are more likely to have long-lasting symptoms.
Hmm.
That there's a correlation there. It isn't true for necessarily everybody, but it is more likely. I was like, wow, okay. Because I mean, I had the sound sensitivity from the earliest days after my own. Um, and I remember early
And the
on, and
light.
I go ahead.
And the light too. You had the light
Yes,
sensitivity too. Okay,
yes.
go ahead.
Um, Early on, when I was doing brain injury rehab, there was a therapist who she was just very convinced that I needed to do the exposure therapy. And she said, I want you to meet me. It was at the mall in the food court.
Oh my gosh.
I walked in there within like instant overload. So then she was,
Smells, food
yes.
court, sounds, light, noise. Oh
Hmm.
my gosh, is she
So I had, because
I'm
because I can.
shaking. I'm shaking thinking about it. Wow.
So then she was stuck because I was, like down for the count. She was there by herself. And I had driven, I can drive. This is me. There's much less traffic than California. Like, what is she going to do with me? Because I am, gone, overloaded. Yeah, I can't get myself home. She's there by herself. So she had to call back to the rehab facility. They had to send somebody else out. They had to figure out how to get me home because I was, and it took me days. I don't even remember now, like how many days, probably at least a week to recover from those just few minutes of that. So that throw you in the deep end, I mean, at least for me personally, it did not work because I would overload instantly. And it's like, what's the point of that? So then, like later on, I was working with another therapist, and it's like we played cards in the cafeteria, but not during at the hospital where I had the rehab therapies, but not during like, meal times, during like the kind of the lull in between. And so that was kind of like what my nervous system could handle.
Mm.
Like, and so it was like that, finding that space where you're okay and on only challenging it just a little bit. You kind of that window of tolerance kind of idea. But early on, that window of tolerance, it was so the line was so very fine. I remember early on, because I mean I was a musician. I wanted to try music things. We tried going to a performance. I mean, we researched the venue. We figured out which play we were going to go to. We chose our seats. I mean, we did everything we could. I mean, I had earplugs, I had headphones, I had sunglasses, the hat, everything. What we could not have predicted was this particular play. The entire cast entered right by where we were sitting with like chains and bells and things. That wasn't anywhere in the program. I mean, we never did see that play because I overloaded. I remember just sitting on the steps outside just crying. And what I realized was at that time I could not do performances. There were too many things that were I couldn't too many variables. It was not the right thing for me to be doing at that time. You know,